Coming up on WTV8 News, find out how the Wartburg community is coping with the MediaCom switchover.
Coming up on Night Watch, we'll introduce you to a local high schooler who's making a difference with a pair of sneakers.
Well, we've had a lot of close games this year, so I was kind of just, reminiscing back into those games.
Were the Knights able to pull out a win against the Norse? We'll let you know. We're bringing breaking news this afternoon from the Virginia Tech campus. A shooting on the Virginia Tech campus has occurred where a police officer has been reportedly shot to death after a routine traffic stop.
A Waverly police officer survived a collision with an oncoming car.
Stiefel under center. Two receivers on the near side. You got a man in motion. It's going to be a little dump pass out to the near side. Nice catch. And there's going to be find a crease, and there he goes. Off to the races, cutting inside. He may go. 20, 15, 10, drop down at the 10-yard line. Great play there for the Wartburg Knights.
Your WTV8 News starts now.
Covering your campus, your community, and your world. From the McElroy Communication Arts Center in the Grant Price Studio, this is WTV8 News.
So Nathan, did you see that? That's what we call the open. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Bridgewater.
And I'm Brianna Nielsen.
Wartburg's homecoming celebrations at Joe's Nighthawk ended early after two men were taken into custody.
Here's what we know about the situation. A bar fight happened at 12:40 a.m. Sunday morning at Joe's Nighthawk. Two men involved in the fight were taken into custody. 18-year-old Chaston Fox of Waterloo was charged with public intoxication and disorderly conduct. 21-year-old Jordan Cousin, a Wartburg senior from Spencer, Iowa, was charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, interference with official acts, and assault on a police officer.
Bar owner Joe Breitbach was taken to the hospital with a shoulder injury after trying to break up the fight. He has since been released. Police are continuing to investigate. We will update you if more information becomes available.
Last week we reported a story about a bar fight at Joe's Nighthawk. Tonight we are joined in the studio by Captain Jason Leonard of the Waverly Police. He's here to talk about the possible gang connections to last weekend's fight and how students can prevent violence. Thanks for joining us, Captain Leonard.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, why are the gangs spreading into Waverly?
Well, quite honestly, the bottom line is that we really don't know everything, the reason why they're coming to Waverly. However, all indications are, and knowing that these gang members that were here stem from Waterloo and the Waterloo area, they're looking for an easier market. That's basically what we know at this time.
Now, what is the police department's plan to deal with this growing problem?
Well, we plan on staying on top of it, and hopefully it's not a growing problem. Staying on top of it means if we have to do more bar walkthroughs on the weekends, then that's what we do. If we identify these gang members that were here, which is what we're intending to do and still working at, then that's something else that we're planning on doing to stay on top of it. If we see them in town, we need to address the issue at that moment in time.
We're bringing you breaking news here from the Virginia Tech campus. A shooting on the Virginia Tech campus has occurred. A police officer has been shot, and another victim has been shot and killed as well. This is the second shooting since the 2007 shooting that killed 32 people in 2007, 4 years ago. Here's what we know about it so far. The shooting happened just at noon Eastern Time. 2 people have been reported as killed. The suspect is a white male in gray hat and maroon hoodie. Virginia State Police will be taking over the investigation. According to the news release released by Virginia Tech, the police officer was pulling someone over in a routine traffic stop around noon, and the officer was then shot, and it has been reported that he has been killed now. Classes did end yesterday, however, so not a lot of students were in classrooms at the time. We are joined again by
Claudio D'Amato. He's a 2010 Wartburg graduate. He's also working at Virginia Tech, and he joins us again earlier. And Claudio, are there any updates to the situation there?
Hi. Currently there are no major significant updates except for the fact that law enforcement presence has been intensifying on campus consistently within the last hour and a half. Now, the DAs here and the FBI's here, we're seeing pictures of them pretty much all over the place. And by my guesstimate, there are hundreds and hundreds of police
Is there any clues, or have they given you any information on when this might be over, or when they might be able to let you go, or start escorting a few people out?
No, we haven't. And the only information pertaining to that will be a press conference has been announced for 4:30 p.m. Eastern, so in about 90 minutes from now. We don't know if that's going to signify the end of anything at this point. But as for escorting people out, we don't really know. I mean, this is a university of 28,000 students plus many more thousands of faculty and staff. And granted, today there are no classes, so there's fewer people on campus, but it's still very many thousands of people on campus. So lockdown is probably what's going to continue to happen for part of all year.
Last week, Wartburg students were evacuated from the Student Center after a popcorn machine caught fire in the Den Ritter cell. Here now is an uploaded Facebook picture of the fire taken by a Wartburg student. After this incident, the den was closed until further notice, and lunch hours in the Mensa were extended. The den reopened this past Thursday, resuming regular business hours. However, damages resulted from the fire, and certain items needed to be replaced.
What was damaged in the den fire was the cash register system, the popcorn machine, and a couple small things, couple roasters that we use to serve hot food, and the blender that we use to make avalanches.
MP added that the cash register in the den has already been replaced, and they are still looking into replacing other items that had been damaged.
Welcome back to WTV8 News. As we've been bringing this to you all throughout the newscast, a fire broke out on the 3rd floor at Hebron Hall. John Householder went out and got the video, and we're now going to go through it with him to show you what happened.
Okay, so actually, when I went out there, fire chief actually told me that he'd been there 15 minutes. He had a call 15 minutes prior to that. They rushed the scene. The fire was caused like on 3rd floor Hebron. There's everyone evacuated from the building right there. That is actually the popcorn bag that has been rumored to have been the cause of the fire, but fire officials are actually unsure. There are lots of fire engines there, ambulances there, and just a lot of people kind of trying to figure out exactly what's going on, but fire chiefs say that they are actually just investigating the entire situation right now.
Welcome to the studio. We've got a lot to get to tonight as it's conference tournament time in the IIAC.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Bridgewater.
And I'm Brianna Nielsen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Pomolia.
And I'm Ben Hoppenworth. Wartburg has sent out 2 campus-wide emails this semester on student conduct.
And the emails, intended to keep the Wartburg community informed, have stirred up a lot of questions among students. Justin Zacconi joins us in the studio to explain why the emails were sent out in tonight's top story.
Kyle and Ben, if you were someone with a Wartburg email account, more than likely you have received an email from the Juice concerning more than upcoming campus events. Those emails concern 2 student conduct issues that made local and national news. While the college used the emails as a way to stay ahead of the bad PR, students had mixed feelings about using campus-wide email to address student conduct issues. The question many are asking, what exactly is the college's policy on communicating student conduct issues to the campus community? Conduct has always been a point of emphasis on Wartburg's campus. But over the past few weeks, that issue has moved to the top of the administration's agenda with the criminal arrests of students Elsie Schmidt and Whitley Teslow. During that time period, the college alerted the campus of the incidents through mass emails from the Juice.
2 weeks ago, the Knights had more to celebrate than just a victory over Gustavus Adolphus. Sports Night's Shelby Gernath has more.
It was an exciting night, a great crowd, great atmosphere, special evening for Wartburg College and Wartburg football.
That's what Coach Willis had to say 10 years ago. The date was September 1st, 2001, and the Knights had just played and won their first game at Walston Hoover Stadium. The name of the stadium came from Wartburg Board of Regents members Gary and Donna Hoover and Gary's uncle, Marv Walston. After 100,000 square feet of field turf was installed in July of 2001, Coach Willis and the Knights were ready to hit the gridiron running, and they have not looked back since. The Knights have won 45 home games in just over 9 seasons. On September 10, 2011, Wartburg celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Walston Hoover Stadium as the Gusties from Gustavus Adolphus came to town. After a long battle, the Knights came out ahead in this one, winning 26-21.
But is Wartburg College prepared if a tragedy strikes? I have more details.
Got it, shoot, shot, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Police officers rushed into Luther Hall Wednesday morning as a gunman took aim at employees inside.
Upstairs. Up the top of the stairs, what he said.
Yeah, right north. I'm up. 6 good.
But in this case, the guns were fake, and the gunmen and victims were actors.
What we wanted to do is train to ensure that if there was a situation that happened on Wartburg campus, that Wartburg campus security would be notified, and then also that notification would make it to us. And that worked really well today.
Is parkour a sport, an extreme activity, or maybe even a lifestyle? Regardless of how you classify it, Kyle Pomolio follows a Wartburg student who will make your jaw drop.
This is not parkour. This is. Meet Josh McCall, a first-year Wartburg student from Cedar Rapids who was able to work magic with simple architecture. Originally created in France, McCall says he started doing parkour after watching YouTube videos.
Probably the same thing like everybody else in the community did, or most people anyway. They saw the videos of the French guys doing it on YouTube, went out in their backyard and tried to mimic what they saw and just eventually got the hang of it.
For McCall, getting the hang of it has meant not trying a stunt until he knows he's ready. Muggles beware. Outfly hit last Tuesday and turned Wartburg into Hogwarts.
The long-awaited event had Wartburg students wondering if it would ever happen, and finally it arrived. Brianna Nielsen has all the details about what happened and when the Hogwarts Express train made a stop at Wartburg.
Orientation staff was up before the crack of dawn, dressed and ready to ensure Outfly started with a bang. The surprise holiday turned magical as students took to the campus mall to help declare Outfly. Even President Colson dressed for the occasion.
There's one event on Wartburg's campus that takes a year to plan. Shelby Granath is joining us now with more.
That's right, Kyle. Right now you would most likely find basketball games going on in Levick Arena, but come March 10th, 2012, it will look a little different. It will look a little more like this. Wartburg's 4th annual Dance Marathon will be held on March 10th. Dance Marathon is a nationwide event which raises money to send to the kids at the University of Iowa's Children's Hospital. The day of the event is an 8-hour dance marathon to celebrate everyone's accomplishments. Even though the event isn't until March, the planning is well underway.
Oh yeah, we start planning for the next year immediately after the last year finishes. It's a year-round process.
And one reason why they start planning so early?
We want to make sure people understand why we do Dance Marathon.
A Waverly policeman is lucky to be alive after an oncoming car struck his patrol car head-on. At about 2:45 a.m. Thursday, Officer Dave Lindy was sitting in the left turn lane on southbound 4th Street Southwest at the last stoplight before heading out of town. That is when an oncoming car slammed into Lindy's squad car. The Brewer County Sheriff's Office is still working to determine the exact speed of the crash and whether alcohol was a factor.
The upcoming Iowa caucuses have many presidential candidates spending time in Iowa this holiday season. One of those candidates, Michelle Bachmann, made a stop in Waverly last week to a crowd of supportive fans. But it was 2 Waverly Shell Rock students who had national media talking and the social networks on fire after a Q&A session about same-sex marriage and gay rights put the candidate and the 2 students face to face. Here is video of that discussion captured by Waverly newspapers.
What would you do to help protect GSAs in high school and support the LGBT community?
Well, number one, all of us as Americans have the same rights. We have the same civil rights. And so that's really what government's role is to protect our civil rights. There shouldn't be any special rights or special set of criteria based upon people's preferences.
Now this is the video of Jane Schmidt, president of Waverly Shell Rock High School's Gay Straight Alliance and Waverly Shell Rock Junior, Ella Newell. WTV8's Danny Householder had an opportunity to interview the young women on last Thursday's edition of Night Watch.
What it was like to be talking to a presidential candidate that close and on an issue this heated?
Well, it was kind of one of those things that I felt like
it was just the right thing for me to ask about an issue like that, because I feel like a lot of people are very uncomfortable bringing issues like that up.
The sights and the sounds are always something that people can remember from their high school days. In this week's Inside the Numbers, I visited the Janesville High School to find out what sets them apart from the rest.
There's nobody better than Janesville Wildcats. You remember that. You take that out of here tonight. There's nobody better. My brothers. Let's go.
Let's go, boys. Let's get it going, boys. Get up, get up.
Located off Highway 218, there is a small, consolidated school district in Janesville. In a city of 829 people, there is an 8-man football team that is playing for something bigger than itself.
Yeah, I'd say we're playing for a community, we're playing for family, We're playing for the last 4 years, we didn't make it where we wanted to, and we're going to give it our all this year.
It's not every day that a high school student has the opportunity to save a life. WTV8's Ben Hoppenworth tells us about a Denver high school senior who is doing just that, one soul at a time.
Sam Schumacher, a senior at Denver High School, had the idea to get involved with an organization called Souls for Souls while attending a leadership conference at Wartburg this summer.
We had to pick a community service project to do, and we did some research and stuff, and I'm really interested in shoes. I'd heard about it before, so I looked more into it, and I decided I really liked it, and that's what I wanted to get into.
Souls for Souls is an organization that sends new or used shoes all around the world to help out kids who aren't able to have new shoes themselves. Schumacher says there are multiple reasons why kids are really in need of shoes.
If safety comes first, then the Waverly Shell Rock Middle School is at the top of the list.
A new building is making it safer than ever for students and the community if danger approaches. WTV8's Jacqueline Schutte has more.
What is $2 million, has 18-inch thick concrete walls, and can withstand 250-mile-per-hour wind gusts?
The auditorium, and that's how it was constructed. So there was money from FEMA that went into the building of the auditorium for that express purpose.
And we'll be back next Monday night at 8 for another edition of WTV8 News. Have a good night, Cedar Valley.